Hey there, guys. Alex here from SPP, and today I'm joined by my colleague Dian,
Hi everyone.
as well as Garrett from GMB Gorilla.
Hello, everybody. How you doing?
And he's going to be telling us all about his business today. So, to get us started, Garrett, can you tell us more about how you discovered the Google My Business niche and what sets you apart from your competitors in this field?
Yeah, so I actually found out about Google Business Profiles several years ago. In fact, in 2013, when I was starting my own marketing agency, I had a bunch of just locally focused businesses, medical practices, accountants, financial services, and I quickly just kind of found that a lot of the customers for those particular services didn't necessarily need to go to somebody's website in order to get what they were looking for, and also to reach out and make contact. And I started to kind of take a deep dive into Google Maps and the Google My Business and the local pack, and realized that this area of SEO and local SEO was sort of like the early 2000s when I started to get into SEO myself. And I quickly saw that it was really the lowest hanging fruit, not to make a gorilla joke, but it was the lowest hanging banana on the tree. And it was something that, a service that could be delivered at a affordable price point and deliver a high ROI. And that's really what got us thinking about this. Now, we have been providing Google My Business services for over 8 years, but during the pandemic, obviously a lot of people were tightening their marketing budgets, and so on a whim, in 2020 we decided, hey, why don't we roll out GMB Gorilla as a single page website and put a nice system like SPP behind it to help us manage inbound orders and customer workflow, and see if anybody's interested in this. And we wanted to do something that wasn't, as I call, Garrett centric. Previous businesses had really been expert focused. Garrett's done this for a long time. He knows what he's doing. He's got a team that's trained and they're great. And I kind of said, hey, let's try to do something different, and let's really press the envelope. If people are going to buy something from a big blue gorilla, then there must be a little bit of demand here. And so we were lucky that within the first week of our one-page website and some pay-per-click ads being up, we actually had somebody sign up. They are still a customer today and have grown their book of business pretty substantially with us, which is awesome. And really, things just kind of started to snowball from there. And about 90 days in, we looked together as a team here and we said, wow, we've got something here. Let's double down. Let's build out the website. Let's get more aggressive with our web presence and really start promoting this. And I think the reason that we were successful and we gained traction is first and foremost, we're affordably priced. I think that's important. The next thing is we do what we say. There are a lot of fly-by-night kind of marketing service vendors on the internet. So, we can tell right away when a customer reaches out to us if they've been burned before in the past based on the questions they ask. So we have a money-back guarantee. And then what's awesome with the SPP platform is we're able to provide full kind of service transparency. So folks are easily able to access our account managers, designers, copywriters, and specialists. They're easily able to see, based on, different phases of the project or the service itself. And the recurring billing, the ease of cancellation. And so I really think that we're growing because, number one, we've got an affordable service. It works, so people are getting great results. It's very transparent. There's no long-term contracts or lock-in. And so when you kind of look at across the suite of marketing services, it's very difficult to kind of beat that offer, because most marketing agencies want to tie you into a 1 or a 2 year contract. They're trying to sell and take your entire wallet, so they want to charge $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, $2,500. And so I think we've really just found a sweet spot, focusing on Google My Business management and a couple of ancillary services around that to support our customers. And hopefully we'll continue to see this growth in the coming years.
That's pretty great. I do have a follow-up question though, based on what you said. Has offering a money-back guarantee bit you in the back at any point, or has it been going great so far?
Yeah, so we've signed up hundreds of customers at this point. I think only 2 or 3 folks have taken advantage of the money back guarantee. I can tell you in 2 out of the 3 instances, this was literally hey, it's cheaper to sign up for your monthly service to get a one-time optimization than it is to buy your one-time optimization product. And sort of after we went through the first 4 weeks of that, and so we had to change some of our pricing and the way we did things as a result of that. And then obviously, I think any business is going to have one person that just kind of churns, and I find a lot of times, in the marketing space, everybody wants results right away, and we work hard, and for a lot of people, they can see results in 30, 60 days. But for existing businesses and competitive niches or larger geographies, you're going to have to work at this for a period of time, just like you had to work to grow and establish your own business. This is not, I tell everybody, this is not 2005, 2010, or even 2015. Sometimes ranking a website or achieving high visibility online is as expensive and time consuming as taking out a TV ad, depending on the niche. And so, people really need to know that when they're entering into these areas, it's going to take some time. It's going to take some patient and consistent investment. The days of just, I have a website or I have a social media profile and all of a sudden I'm famous and I get lots of business have really gone away. Unless you're operating in a brand new niche like cryptocurrencies or here in the States, like maybe cannabis dispensaries and things like that.
One more question, follow-up question from my end. You mentioned you started off right away as a very affordable business. Have you ever had issues with competitors who try to be even more affordable and then you had to compete on price, or how are you trying to set yourself apart from the competition in this case?
Yeah, so I think that's a great question. The interesting thing about providing internet marketing services is it really is a global market. Anybody in any country in the world can create a website, say that they know how to manage Google My Business profiles, and then go out there and execute. And so I think a couple of things that we've done as it relates to pricing. Number one, we do service customers around the globe. We're very proud of that, and it's actually been one of the most interesting aspects of this business so far is the global reach. But here in the U.S., where the majority of our business is, one of the things that's very, very important that a lot of customers look towards is they want to see stateside designers and copywriters, because they have found that over time, just working with companies that are providing kind of like English as a second language, oftentimes, is just difficult to catch the nuance of the localities and creates a lot of just additional editing. And so, one of the things that I know we win on is all of our designers and developers are located in the U.S. And for our U.S. customers, that is an instant win versus saying, hey, we're leveraging a contractor or some third party in a country that you've never heard of or something like that. So that right there, I think, definitely helps us out. The second thing that we do is that a lot of the businesses that seem to really need Google My Business services and really need help with their business profiles are multi-location businesses. So businesses that have 5, 10, 15, maybe 100 locations. That's a massive challenge for someone to kind of orchestrate and manage, especially since most companies, I'd say all companies, don't have a Google Business Profile Manager in-house. And so if you think about it, if you have 100 locations and someone comes and says, listen, it's $350 per location. At one location, $350 is affordable. At 100 locations, you're like, wow, that's expensive. And so what we do that a lot of competitors don't do is any profile after the first profile, we discount the management fee based on the volume. And so what that allows us to do, and also some of our partners, which we'll talk about later on in this call, is we essentially are able to get ourselves really aggressive pricing to both our partners and to that end users that makes it palpable for them to bring us on. And the way we're able to do that is two reasons. Number one, we are highly automated. So we have worked with the SPP system and Zapier, as well as created our own kind of custom middlewares to, once someone signs up for an order and wants to work with us, everything's automated in the back end. So we've got a fully automated back end in Asana that automates due dates, tasks, assignments. So number one, we have a great system of check and balances, but we also don't have to do all of that work manually like a lot of companies do. The second thing is that we realize most most companies don't need unique individual posts for each of their locations. If you have 100 locations, they're probably all selling, marketing, and doing the same thing. And so we can syndicate, one post a week across 100 profiles rather than having to create 100 posts every single week. And because we don't have to do that work, we are very much in the position where we can offer a substantial discount to them, and in doing so, that makes us ultra competitive, and we see a lot of multi-location businesses, larger partners coming to us because of that automation, and also that aggressive pricing in the multi-location scenarios.
For my next question, I'm going to reference something you said earlier. You're selling your services to clients from a blue gorilla. So how did we come up with this? What was the thought process behind it? How did you end up with this as an idea?
Yeah, the last probably I would say from 2013 till about 2018, the majority of the business we were doing was very buttoned up. We were working with large healthcare systems, high-end private practices. We were very blessed, and even still today, we have some of the most prominent cosmetic clinics in the United States that are our clients and things like that on the agency side of the business. And so, it wasn't very fun. Everything was like, hey, we're an expert. Hey, we have glasses and degrees. And for someone like me, who is not really like that in general, like I don't usually like to dress up and wear suits, and I don't take myself that seriously. And, at the end of the day, this is SEO and online marketing and lead generation. We're not selling pacemakers or cancer treatments or anything like that. So we can lighten up and have some fun. And, things were a little dire around the office. Like there's a lot of unknowns when it comes to COVID and things like that. And I thought, you know what? Why don't we just try something that's really out there? And again, I wanted to see, will people buy this, without knowing who's behind it? And I was literally on Namecheap, and I do this all the time. I've been doing this for decades. Anytime I have a new idea, I just go there and I start looking for domains. And, I fancy myself a marketing guy and that I'm pretty good at it. And I was looking for brandable stuff. I love exact match domains. A lot of people don't like that, but, I've never worked with huge budgets. So the obvious works very well. And I don't know, it just kind of came and I thought, wow, GMB Gorilla, it just rolls off the tongue. And I started looking at, okay, let's create like a real quick logo. I want to show everybody this idea in the office that I've got, right? Because this is, it's another one of Garrett's crazy ideas. And so I found some icons of some goofy looking gorillas. I thought, hey, let's make the hair like blue. Let's make it a digital gorilla. Like, can we really focus on kind of crazy tech looking foliage and just say we're GMB Gorilla and really play up the whole gorilla theme and the bananas and swinging through branches and slipping on peels, and people liked it. And I don't exactly know why, other than it's different and it's not necessarily what you're expecting. And I think we're all here on the team comfortable in our own skin as professionals and experts in what we do, that we can play with a brand like this. And, I think the worst part about picking the name was, about a year and a half into this, Google decided to change the name of the profiles from Google My Business to Google Business Profile. And so that now leaves us in a slight little pickle as GMB Gorilla. But we've got some plans for that and some things that we're working on and thinking about. But that's really how the brand came out. We're marketers. We wanted something fun and exciting, and we were working with clients that are like restaurants and toy manufacturers and things, and they have all these really cool all the marketing and the promo stuff was awesome, and our marketing and promo stuff had been white papers and books, and it's effective stuff, but it's boring. And so with the Gorilla brand on social media, on our YouTube videos, on the website, we can really play and have a lot of fun. And I think that's really what's made this an exciting service venture for us, and made the team really excited about what the growth and what's been happening, because we're delivering great results, but we're also having a ton of fun with it.
Yeah, so I was wondering, just a follow-up question. You mentioned the branding is working really well. Do you use it for any fun stuff like SMS marketing and just write to your clients, hey, the gorilla is sending you a banana coupon or something like that? Or what kind of crazy ideas have you come up with?
Yeah. So, for example, the welcome email that we send when someone becomes a customer or a partner, it's called "Welcome to the Jungle." And it's a play on an old Guns N' Roses song, which a lot of people, in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, which tends to be the folks we're talking to, can remember. And all through that, we talk about, going through the digital jungle. We've even introduced other characters outside of the gorilla, and that are in there. We've got a couple of other animals that you will see pop up through the service experience. But yeah, tastefully, we try to integrate. Little gorilla mannerisms throughout all of our communications. So even when someone, the first time they hear from us, we talk about how we're excited to swing into action, and don't make this mistakes. We talk about slipping on the banana peels, like all those sort of things. We talk about the prides and the packs, and all of that is in there. So we've got guides internally that we talk about, and Rhodey, one of our experts here, he'll hop on the podcast and he's got, his explorer's hat on and his gear and everything like that. And so, we really try to get into it and embrace it. And I think, the other thing is too, is this is all B2B, right? So this is not business to consumer work, and all the businesses we're working with, these people are working hard, they're trying hard. We very rarely meet people who are not trying to, meet and exceed expectations for their clients or for their business or their internal goals. And so I think we're providing a little bit of comedy relief, a little bit of fun, a little reminder that, hey, like, we're in marketing, everybody, like, this should be fun and enjoyable. And, you should push the limits a little bit every once in a while with your marketing. And, some forward looking things that we've got going on, we've got some plush dolls that are in development now that the business is growing and stuff like that. So we've been able to find some blue gorillas that we can send out. We've got some awards coming out, so you may see some golden bananas floating out there on the internet for some certain kind of viral marketing things that we've got up our sleeves. So yeah, we really are trying to, again, not overdo it, but embrace it and have some fun with it. Because at this point, it's going on about 2 years, and I don't see this going anywhere but up. So the world is stuck with the blue gorilla.
Sounds great. I was wondering, you mentioned you have customers around the globe. Do they like the gorilla as much as the US-based customers, or are there any, do you think it's too weird, it's too out there?
No, so we've dealt with folks who, we've dealt with major corporations in Dubai that I thought, hey, they asked me for a presentation to show to their executive team, like, and I kind of said, okay, here it is, like, this is probably, say, like, GMB Experts Incorporated or something like that, right? And we won the deal, and they didn't say anything about it. They're just like, oh, this is great, and I think what we've heard from a lot of people who maybe aren't saying, hey, I think it's funny, is it's original and it's well done and it's well put together. And so, no, this is something that is actually translated across the globe. So and again, I haven't, and maybe people are just being really nice, but I tell them I got thick skin, everyone here does. We can take constructive criticism. Tell us if you don't like it, we'll tone it back. And I said, no, it's great. We enjoy it. So again, it's one of those things. Every once in a while, I think somebody gets lucky, right? And I think this is one of those things there where we took a shot, and this time around, it worked in our favor.
I hope it works out in the future as well. So
Me
find
too.
more markets and bring the gorilla to every jungle on the planet.
Yes, sir. Oh, I love it. See, I already got you talking that way.
Yeah, my next question is actually going back to the pricing a little bit. You mentioned already you are super affordable. On your website, you only have like the subscription plan for the Google My Business page. How do you have any other plans? And if so, how do you upsell clients to those other one-time services maybe? And at what point are you doing that?
Yeah. So when we originally started this, one of the things that were important for us was to just focus on delivering one service. One thing that I found with my team in the early years is being a full service agency is really difficult because it's okay when you have 1, 2, 3, 4, but when you start to hit about 5 clients, and you want to try to scale that, the amount of capital that you need to keep reinvesting, because you have to kind of like find whole people, right? And a lot of times the people that you've only got $70,000 to fill a marketing role, but you need that person to do 3 or 4 things and they can't. And so we really found that scaling a service organization and doing all the work internally for multiple different, for doing SEO and website and social media was very difficult. And it actually became an exercise in just growing so that you could add more people. It wasn't necessarily something where as you grew and add more people, you were making more money, which should happen. And so, we had, had some limited success in the past creating our own software as a service offering. And we kind of like looked at that and we thought, okay, can we just offer one service, just Google, just the business profile management on this kind of like interesting name and see if it stands alone on itself. It's not, somebody on the phone being charming. It's not, hey, this person looks like they're super smart and know what they're doing. It's just the offer. We like the offer. We want the offer. And so we ran with that single offer for a while. Now, what we learned in there as people started to call in is obviously there are a segment of people who are skeptical naturally. And so those folks are like, well, listen, I don't want to sign up for a monthly recurring service, but I like what you're saying here and I think my profile could be optimized. And so, or I want a second set of eyes. Hey, I'm doing this in-house, but I don't know if I'm doing everything correctly. Can you go through? So we created a one-time optimization service. So we have a one-time optimization service where we'll go through and essentially do the first 4 weeks of work that we do for our recurring management service. We'll just do that as a one-time. And when we do that, we have about a 95% renewal rate into a monthly management. So I like to say it's really people who are testing us. But once they go in, they get the emails, they're working with us, they know that they can call us, email us, text us. We're responsive within 2 to 4 hours of their tickets. We're doing what we said. We're showing the work. It's usually a slam dunk. We also have like a one-time setup service. So let's say that you just created a brand new website or you're just getting going with your business. We have a one-time setup where we'll just go through and we'll set up your profile for you. Obviously, we include the enhancement and the optimization. We'll also go the extra step. We'll create your avatar, your background profile image. We'll upload some photos and videos. If you don't have them, we'll use stock photography, crop them, manipulate them so that they're original and pass through Google's filters and you don't get a nasty gram for just uploading stock stuff. And then, on that, we have a little bit lower of a renewal rate just because we tend to get a lot of like newer customers. But even though, so I'd say probably over 50% of the people who get that service end up going into the management. And so, those two are really foot in the door. Services, which are great, and then the other service that we offer, and this is this happened very quickly after we launched the management service originally, is a one-time support service. So what ended up happening is we created this section of our website called Ask the Gorilla, where we were asking basic questions that everyone was asking about how to manage their profile, and we were going through and creating tutorials and step-by-step instructions. And that was creating a lot of inbound calls from people who were trying to use those instructions and were getting stuck, confused, or had a greater issue that they couldn't resolve. And for a while there, we were literally like just trying to answer questions, and we found that it turned out to be like, one person was spending 4 or 5 hours a day just answering people's questions that they were, because sometimes they thought we were Google, nobody else, they didn't know where to go to ask for help. And so we created this one-time support service for that. And the great thing about this is we have a 95% positive rate once we get into the ticketing system with Google. First and foremost, if it's an issue that we can have somebody just handle themselves, we'll send them the instructions right from our website. If it's an issue that we know is going to end in a dead end, because we've done so many of these now, we inform them up front and we don't take their money. And then obviously, like if we don't have success with it, we've been refunding people their money as well on that support service. So we have those three kind of one-time ancillary services for those folks who maybe aren't quite ready for the ongoing recurring management service, want to try us out, want to test us out, or just have an issue. They're self-managing and they just have an issue. And I tell everybody, listen, there is no formal Google, business profile agency program. The Google was nice. They are going to let us keep our management dashboards where everybody else is going to have to kind of edit their stuff in the search results. So thank you, Google, if you're listening. I appreciate that. It'll make our life or keep our life somewhat easy. But again, they want to do it themselves. They don't want to spend the money. And so we've got these services. We know how to enter the tickets. We actually have documents internally about, based on the issue, how to write the ticket, what information to include. And so, all of this just documentation that a lot of people sort of just overlook and think, that's not a big deal is really part of the secret sauce. Everything here is very well ironed out. And I credit that with us being disciplined to not expanding our services too much.
Yeah, that's actually pretty interesting because a lot of companies, they want to expand their business at some point. Like they see some value, they see some potential, but then maybe it just diminishes your profit margins. If you launch a service that isn't really a good fit or you don't price it correctly, then you have to hire new people and then your profits go down instead of up. So it's quite tricky.
Yeah, I find a lot of people end up doing service expansion because their lead flow for their primary service is inadequate. And so, human desperation, and I don't want to say like they're like literally desperate, but the lizard brain, right, the cave person inside of us all kicks into overdrive and says, well, you can probably do that. Take the money. Like, you didn't close a deal last month. And I only say that because I've been there before, right? When I first started doing, agency services, if I had done it in the past and been successful and thought I could do it with you and the team, like we took the job. And that was great for a while, a lot of variety, a lot of interesting challenges. But to scale that repeatedly, to pass down and cascade that work to other people as your organization grows, just is very, very difficult. And so, it is tough to get through those dark days of low revenues and not a lot of customers. But, I tell everybody, if you're going to do something like this, I think you got to give yourself 12 to 24 months to get established. Because what'll probably end up happening is it'll be slow, it'll pick up, you think you made it, and then you're going to have a whole bunch of churn. And now you're like, what happened, right? And then it'll grow back up, and then you'll find, oh, wow, I have to replace all of these systems because they don't support me at this customer level. And you hit a plateau for a couple of months, and then you redo it. And so, I really kind of, that's something that I've learned over the last 20 years of my career, very much in marketing the last, 8 to 10 years, is that these things take time. And a lot of the stories you see out there of people with this epic growth, they probably were working on this business for a really long time before they had that epic growth. And they're just not showing you that part of the growth chart.
So we've been talking about your services, we've been talking about your branding, but now I want to get into the back end. I want to know how you came across SPP and how did it end up improving your processes overall?
Yeah, and I swear everybody listening, SPP is not paying me to say this. I pay them, and they do a great job, by the way, so thank you. I would not have done this business without SPP. One of the triggers to saying, hey, I think we can release a lower cost product and keep a high service level and maintain our profit levels to make this worthwhile ventures is because of the automations, the workflow, and the removal of labor that using SPP provides somebody like us. And so the next thing is as the pandemic hit, we went from being centrally located here in New York State to spread out across the U.S. And as the business has grown, we've got folks who are now located overseas. And so in order to be able to properly divide the labor, execute smoothly, you really need a front end system here. And one of the interesting things that I always say is to clients. So I have some consulting clients that are larger enterprises, and one of the things I help them do is like vet, evaluate, and manage their third party contractors in the marketing space. And so, one of the things that I constantly hear from VPs and CMOs and CEOs is these agencies are so expensive. And what I've learned as someone who started an agency like that, your typical $5, $10, $15, $25,000 a month retainer, the reason they're so expensive is the amount of account management that is required. See, like a lot of folks don't understand that probably 25% of your retainer cost is going to project management and account management. That's a lot of money. And that's just because traditional agencies are not set up to have automated front ends. Their services are not packaged and scoped. And so it's just sort of like you end up spending 25, maybe even 50% of your retainer just with people, managing, pushing emails back and forth and doing everything like that. And with this business, we couldn't do that. If I literally, we've timed how long it takes to create a profile. We've timed how long it takes things to go through the system. So we had this information. And so we knew that if you send X amount of emails every month, or you have to get on X amount of calls, we lose money. And knowing that going in, before we even launched the website, before we even talked about the service, put us on a path to start to look for a system like this. And we had been looking for 5, 6, 7 years, and we hadn't found one. And luckily, another company that we used, I think was probably one of the earliest users of SPP. I was nosy. I did a right click, view page source, and inspect. And I just saw this, nothing looked strange except I saw this spp.co in the file. And so I put that into Google, the site came up, and my world opened up a little bit, and I said, wow, this is awesome. And it's only gotten better. And I can see that it continues to get better. And so we 100% leverage the workflow. It's integrated with our backend Asana system from a project management system. The team's going in there and moving things into different stages. All of our communications with customers go through the ticketing system under the orders or one of the support queues. And we're excited to I think more fully integrate and automate things inside of it. And also to kind of see what new features are coming to help us that maybe we haven't thought about that will help us with our service experience and automation and just overall kind of efficiency. Oh, and I want to let you know, like very, very sincerely, like I really enjoy working with SPP. I mean, and again, like a lot of times I was like, I would tell you this, I took some cues at the early stages because I was like, wow, like, SPP, like they're not charging me a ton, and these folks are like doing a lot of work. Like I know how much people are, cost to do this kind of engineering work and support work and stuff, right? Like, boy, if they're doing it, like, we can do that too. We can figure it out, right? Or we can set our mindset to the point where, like, it's not, you don't have to look at every cent that's going in and out of the business, right? Like, at least at the early stages, right? Like, you got to pour some time and effort into that at the start, right, to build those raving fans. So kudos to all of you, really. Like, and again, I mean, like, I don't think we would be anywhere near as successful without the front end managing, orders and invoicing and a lot of that workflow. Like, it would just, we have great people, but like, it would just be a disaster to try to do it in Asana itself or a CRM system or something like that, or QuickBooks. It'd be like, it'd be not easy.
That's a pretty good answer. But before we move on, I do have one more question to follow up on with this. With all of the connections that you have to automate your flow, are you using Zapier or are you going through the API?
Yeah, so we have some work that is going through Zapier, but we've also actually worked with the API. And the way that I tend to work is I like to do everything as like a quick beta. And so I like looking to say, hey, like, can we get this thing working? And like, let's get it up to this number of customers. And then, If it works out and we work the kinks out, then we'll go and rebuild it. And so this month we're actually going to be rebuilding a lot of our automations with SPP and Asana to make them a little bit more efficient and effective. And I believe through that we are going to just use the native API. And we're also getting more aggressive with trying to court some of our larger partners that use our white label program to start to get the platform going too, so we can do that direct integration and really kind of streamline things for ourselves and our partners when it comes to frontline communications and just kind of funneling information back and forth.
Okay, so moving on to the next question, I was wondering, when did you see the opportunity to white label your own services, and how are you managing the white label partners and make sure that everything works as expected, you get the projects in and just have to do the fulfillment?
We do have it. Y'all did enable it for us, and we do have 1 or 2 people who are using it, although not at a super high volume. But I actually, I tell anybody that I speak to who is a partner. So a big part of the business that grew, right, is that white label capabilities. So about 6 months into us launching the service, we started to see a lot of freelancers, agents, small agencies, consultants reach out to us saying, hey, can we resell this? And, my background prior to getting into sort of, productized marketing services and marketing consulting was really in e-commerce. And so the company that I had joined when I got out of college was a startup selling networking equipment online. And we were a reseller or a distributor or a retailer for hundreds of brands. And so and this was a nascent market. And so we had really helped design a lot of these reseller programs and channel programs and all this. And so when these people started talking, I was like, oh, this seems like a no-brainer. Like, we'll discount this a little bit. We'll take all of these great resources that we've used to court these end user businesses, and we'll open it up. And it's now become the fastest growing part of our business. And it's remarkable. And we are seeing now folks who are large agencies who want to start adding GMB. We're seeing, agencies that have been providing GMB services for years offload it to us because we can do it better, faster, cheaper. We're seeing entrepreneurs reach out to us saying, hey, can we just create a website and selling just what you guys are doing at a different price point under a different name and have you fulfill it? And so it's really been incredible. And, we treat these folks like they're internal sales and account managers for our own team. So anybody who signs up as a partner and gets into the program, in addition to discounted pricing, they actually get a very robust sales kit. So we have created presentation decks that they can use with end users. We've created complete training so they can bring themselves up to speed, newspaper ads, print ads, newsletters, outreach campaigns. We've even got phone scripts if they want to do outbound dialing for dollars. And just about everything in between. And so, we're really trying to make it easy for anybody who wants to start selling GMB or Google Business Profile Management services, or add that on to some existing things that they're doing. Maybe they're doing pay-per-click or they're building websites for folks. Make it easy to, number one, just make some money and have a great provider behind it, but also, two, give you the assets that you need out there in the field to close deals. Because that's actually probably the hardest thing for anybody out there is closing the deal. I think there's lots of very, very skilled service providers out there, but not everybody is very good at selling these kind of services. And then, in terms of how we manage these white label partners, it actually is a special indication. So one of the great things is very early on when we launched the program, I realized that how was I going to offer special pricing? And how was I going to make it so that my end user customers couldn't see that special discounted pricing and only the partners? And so, of course, being a wild man and liking to break stuff, I dug into the SPP documentation and I realized, hey, I think there's a way to do this. But it being a little over my head, not because it's difficult, but because I'm not an engineer, I reached out. And I think Deanna, you may have even been the one who built this for me. But essentially, what we have is we worked with SPP, and our partners, actually, when they log in, we have a little setting on their account. So we mark them as partners, and when they log in, they see a completely different dashboard. And that dashboard is configured with all the different services. And to me, that is awesome, because what it is set up now with some some of the new things that SPP has come on with, like onboarding pages, is we're going to be able to really create some really nice customized introductory videos and content to live on those 2 pages. And for us, it's a relief that our white label partners, won't see the end user pricing, and our end users won't see the white label pricing. And so that really was fantastic. And I think the greatest thing for me was it was almost like magic. It was like I sent the ticket in, and then I went to bed, and then I woke up the next morning because of the time difference between the teams, and it was done. And I was like, oh, wow, this is amazing. And so we've got that in place. And so the next thing that we're putting in place and we're working on is, how to make, because I'm a firm believer in the reseller module that SPP has, and the ability for folks to sign up for SPP, be a client of ours or a customer or a partner of ours, and sell our service suite through their SPP instance. And so, one of the things that we've been working on, and this is something that, we haven't fully baked yet, but we've had lots of conversations with partners, is how do we integrate that in so that's like a standard part of the offering, or an enhanced, or something we can do, because a lot of the resellers that we talk to don't have this. Should have this for not only what we're doing, but also the other aspects of their business. And I think they talk all the time about, hey, will you manage the end customer? How do the communications look like? Like, how can we save time? Some folks are even very transparent. They're like, I don't want to talk to anybody. I just want to sell this and make some money, right? And so I think that the tools that SPP has developed and put together and continues to put together are really great for what we're doing. And, we're excited to try to find a better mousetrap for ourselves to get more people engaged in that functionality of the platform.
Well, moving on, we talked about this earlier. You mentioned your Ask the Gorilla section on your website. And I'm wondering, is this SEO content your main way to acquire leads? Or if not, how do you acquire your leads?
Yeah, Alex. Well, I'm glad you pointed that out, because one of the things that kind of irks me a little bit about SEO is that everyone always says you got to have a blog. And see, I don't look that old, but I've been doing this a really long time, and I remember what a blog actually was. A blog is literally a weblog, and that is a personal narrative, and it's essentially an online journal. And thanks to all of these content marketing softwares and everything else, all I hear from entry-level marketers, new folks on the scene, even some folks who've been around, is you got to have a blog. And the reality is you do not have to have a blog on your website to rank highly in the search engines. Do you have to have content? Sure. But that content does not have to be on a blog. And please don't call it a blog if it's not a personalized, journey and story. So if you're talking in the first person and you're telling people about what you ate for dinner and all this, and then you're getting into the good facts, and it's the same person or the same couple of people constantly going through this, call it a blog. If not, use your marketing brain and call it something different, like Ask the Gorilla. And so the idea with Ask the Gorilla was very, very simple. From an SEO strategy standpoint, the majority of high volume keyword phrases were questions. Why? Google offers no support. There's no manual. There's literally a couple of pages, and if you want to go do something, you can go get support in a forum for free, right? And there are a lot of great people, and I really respect them for spending how much time they do answering questions in those forums, in order to become Google product experts and things like that. I think that's awesome, but that's it. And so more often than not, people are just typing in, how do I do this with my profile? And we recognized that through research, and we thought, hey, let's create a series, let's personalize, let's humanize the big blue gorilla and call it Ask the Gorilla. And we'll do, and all of the content that we put out in that section is all in the form of a question. And it's kind of like your own, your old school Ask the Editor kind of thing that you used to find in a newspaper. And it works really well. It maps great to YouTube videos, which we began to add to these and create our own channel and things like that. And of course, we have, content on our page. So if we want to rank number one for Google My Business Management or Google Business Profile Management, just create a page that says that. That's all you need. You don't need to create a blog post. Create that page, promote it, get some links to it, and you'll be fine. So I like to point that out just because that's my one little pet peeve. is, that you'll find is the word blogging is like, yeah, that's personal stuff. If you're a business and you need content that ranks, create resource sections, create an Ask the Gorilla, create something like that, brand it, make it fun, make it accessible, but don't think you got to be hamstrung into this, I got to blog every day, because you're not really blogging. I think the thing is, in terms of the main source of our leads, is right out the gate, yes, pay-per-click, social media ads, and SEO were really the main drivers. And now that the business has gotten up and rolling and it's really kind of firing all cylinders, our partner program, right, has really become a huge driver. And that's awesome because, again, I love falling asleep and waking up in the morning and seeing orders for people that I didn't talk to. Like that's the dream, right? And so our partner program is kicking up, and we're also doing, starting outreach campaigns, right? Like traditional sales campaigns to larger agencies, enterprises, and businesses out there who we think definitely, have a pain point as it relates to their Google business profiles. Not because of the outward-facing performance, but just because we know the time investment and complexity after you get past like 5-10 profiles. Most organizations don't want to do that internally. In fact, when we talk to that marketing person or that communications person, they're just like, yeah, this would be great. Like, I'd really love to like pay you guys this little bit of money to like get this off my plate. But again, I think just like anybody else, and I recommend anybody tries this with any service or product they're going to do. Create a one-page website as fast as you can. Don't make it great looking, because here's the thing: is if people convert on a not great looking web page that's not so awesome, you probably have something. And so create a one-page website, buy a bunch of pay-per-click ads, spend $1,000, $2,500. Do people buy it? Do people sign up for it? If they do, spend some more time and money developing that idea. If not, punt to the next one. I see a lot of entrepreneurs, especially first-time folks, think that they've got to build this like finished product right away, and they spend 3-4 years doing that. Meanwhile, their competitors are on like their third or fourth idea or business that's been successful, and they're just kind of waiting away. So that was our process. It was really, idea, let's quick and dirty page, throw some pay-per-click ads. What happens? Good stuff happens. Great. This is our path. Bad stuff happens. Try something different. But that's how we're doing it today. And, hopefully someday in the future we'll have, TV ads and big conferences and things like that down the line. But yeah, basics, right? I wish there was something a little bit more exciting there, but, the basics are working really, really well for us.
People overcomplicate it way too much when it comes to selling simple services. They want 5 different drop downs, and it already becomes too much of a question. Okay, what should I buy now? Why do I have to choose between 5 different drop down options? It's way too much.
Oh yeah, I would say this: the GMB management service that we offer for your profile is super simple. It's not like, as it relates to like explaining it versus like how do we optimize a website or how do you go out there and build links and do all that, very, very easy, and most people don't understand it. So, when you come at somebody with these large, complex, dense packages, an accountant doesn't spend all day long on the internet researching what a link building campaign is and what domain authority is and, all of that sort of stuff. They don't know what that means. And so you got to make this stuff simple. Also, too, they don't know you. If they've been in business for more than like a couple of years, they've had other marketing vendors. So they've got scar tissue. They've got things that, you got to watch out for. And so sometimes, trying to jump in with this huge package that's super complex and making things seem just grandiose because you want to justify the price isn't necessary. Because you'll end up confusing those people and they'll just walk away and do nothing.
Yeah, speaking of, you mentioned that they don't know you. On the Ask the Gorilla section, have you thought of embedding a contact form from SBP so they can ask you something right away? Like you can embed the support widget. It looks like a little chat bubble in the bottom right corner. And then maybe they could ask a question right away if it's not already on that page, maybe for lead generation.
Yeah, haven't thought about that specifically, but it's a great idea and we should do it. And again, I would say this, one of the interesting things about this is that things have been going in the right direction to the point where we haven't even looked at stuff like that, right? So again, this goes back to sometimes, like, if you do the basics well, you end up, you sometimes forget that there's like even some of these, and again, that's not the most advanced thing. That's just, to me, it's obvious. It's like, duh, they're on the page, Garrett. Give them an easy way to contact you. Makes sense. We just haven't even got there because I'm sure after I log off of this and log into the system, there'll be 5 or 6 people who have messaged us with something going on. But no, that's an awesome opportunity, and I think we should definitely do that. So I'll talk with the team. I'll write a little note down here and work on that because despite the fact things are going well, always could use more leads.
Moving on to our last question for this interview. Garrett, where do you see the future of GMB Gorilla going, and what are your plans for the next few years?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think right now we're really at an interesting inflection point in the business in that we're coming up on our 2-year anniversary. We've grown month over month, quarter over quarter, year over year consistently. Unfortunately, at the end of last year, Google made a name change, so that does impact our branding. And so, the question for us really for the first time in 2 years is, what do we do about that? Because it's okay right now because not everybody recognizes the changing, but people are starting to bring it up. And eventually in a year or two, people will gnaw at us if it's the old name. And so, we're really kind of at this inflection point, like I mentioned before, is now it's the time is, do we pick a brand that's a little bit more broader, right? So do we do a name switch and update to something, keep the Gorilla, but do something that's a little bit more broader and eventually expand our services? Do we just bite the bullet and use the GBP acronym, and it's the GBP Gorilla, and really hone down and stay focused on just the business profiles? I think that's a decision that in the next 90 days, the team and I are working on and trying to figure out what's the best direction for us. My gut says, hey, let's stay focused on, solely focused on the GBP stuff. I don't really like that name, and I don't like a broader name and you just do one thing. So I think we're at a very interesting inflection point. But I have to say this: no matter what we do, we're going to continue to stay laser focused on local SEO services, on the Google Business Profile, and really on trying to provide the best service experience in the marketing services arena. Because again, I think there are a lot of businesses that do a really great job providing services. There's a lot of great experts out there. I see them on Twitter and the internet all the time. Much respect to all these people, but I think where you can really win in this space is with the service experience. I think with a great system of checks and balances, good, fast response rates, and communication. And so, we're going to really, regardless of what we do, if we do those things, we think we're going to be successful. And so, the future is really more of that, more automation, more integration with SPP, more transparency for our customers, faster turnaround times and execution. And all of that, I believe, is going to generate more results faster for them. And, hopefully they like that. They continue to do business with us. And as a team, we can figure out, whether we start to expand a little bit or, stick to what we've been doing for the last 2 years because it's been working really well.
Is there anything you want to add before we sign off, Garrett, or are we good?
Oh, the only thing I want to add is, again, really appreciate the two of you bringing me on and allowing me to share the story of GMB Gorilla. I really appreciate everybody at the team, SPP, and all the support they've provided us. As an entrepreneur and a small business owner, you don't always get that from vendors and tool providers and things like that. And so, not just for my team, not just for me, but my team. I think I tell them all the time. I was like, I don't know, just send them a ticket. They'll respond like in a couple of minutes. They're awesome. So, I just want to reiterate, that thanks from us. I know that working somewhere, usually the customers are just complaining at you or demanding more. So I wanted to make sure that you heard straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak, that at least from our organization, we love you, and please keep up the great work because it's been a huge benefit to our organization and our customers.
Thank you so much for those words, Garrett, man. That was really nice. Okay, well, that's pretty much it then for this call. Thank you so much for joining us, Garrett. It was awesome talking to you, and we hope to talk to you again in a couple of years and see where you went.
Absolutely. Hopefully we're 10 times the size. And as Dan said, we've grown the jungle across the globe.
Yes, exactly. Go bananas with the brand and let's see what you are doing with it.
Yes, sir. We will. Thank you.
Thanks.